Hello there, guys. Welcome to the Raw Reflections podcast, brought to you by the Mirror Impact. My name is Ariele Keller. Thank you so much for joining me today, allowing me to be a part of your journey. Today, we are going to be talking about empowering the feminine. I like to call it the feminine essence, because essence to me, it implies an aroma or an aura or something along those lines, to where it's radiating from you. And that's kind of the goal with empowering the feminine characteristics and the feminine essence, because we want to be able to grow in our own personal development and also allow that development to positively influence those in our lives, our children, our spouses, our friends, our parents even, because what happens in our lives do directly affect our families in some way, and we can choose whether that's going to be a positive influence in a lot of cases or a negative influence. We don't always have the choice, but when it comes to personal development and growing in our self-awareness and understanding more about who we are, the way that we process, and learning how to do that in a more efficient way is a really, really cool thing. So if this sounds interesting, please continue listening. We're going to dive into some deep stuff today. If you are interested in learning more about my memberships, whether it be fitness, lifestyle, nutrition, whatever you might be working towards, my memberships start at $30 a month, and we are community. Like, that's my goal with this, is to create an impact together. We are stronger together, and just a little bit of accountability can really help you gain what you need to in your goals. So if you're interested, please check out the website I have above here, www.themirrorimpact.com, and definitely follow us on social media as well. You can also like this video and subscribe for more podcasts and fitness videos. All right, let's jump in today. I am going to start you off with going over a little bit of kind of what we've been studying in the lifestyle section of my membership portal right now. And we've been really diving into understanding the feminine and identifying. My last podcast, which I will link below, was on healing the wounded feminine. So being able to identify specific areas we are broken or wounded and figuring out what we need to do in order to repair that. And we're going to delve into the same three concepts I talked about, which are our three responses in the mirror coaching model. So for those of you who don't know, MIRROR is an acronym for mindset, identify, and then our three responses, which are release, repair, and overcome. And then we go to release, which is, into reflect, which is that inward focus of what have I accomplished in this time, and the outward focus of how has this positive change influenced those around me. So first off today, I want you to, we're going to talk about specific things that you can do in each of these three responses, but I want to make sure that you understand you're not limited to these three responses. You are not limited to what you can do within these three responses. The mirror coaching model is simply a way to simplify, the way we process emotions and thoughts and situations. It's just something that can be really easy to think of. Okay, how am I going to respond to this? Am I going to release this? Am I going to repair this? Or am I going to overcome this? Like, it kind of breaks down in a lot of cases into those three, but you are not limited to those three. So keep that in your mind as we go through this podcast. It is a guideline, but it is not restricting you. Okay? So first off today, I want to talk about how we can embrace this feminine essence a little bit more when it comes to release. So the biggest thing I find that is a wounded characteristic about the feminine is that we think with our head a lot instead of our heart. We get so focused. As women, we are constantly going from one thing to another. We're really good at multitasking for that reason. I remember in high school, there was a book, and it was through my youth group, and it was called Men are waffles and women are spaghetti or something like that. I don't remember the author, but it was talking about how men can compartmentalize things really easily, while women they're connecting everything all the time. And that's why for a lot of moms, it's really difficult to separate ourselves from our children to spend time with our spouses or to spend time with our friends. It's sometimes difficult to separate those things. So with this is learning how to think with our heart instead of the head, not thinking about what needs to be done, but thinking about what you need to do for yourself in order to be everything that you feel you need to be for everyone else. All right. So it's taking a moment to focus inward rather than outward on what needs done, but inward on what needs focused on or what needs to be released or repaired or overcome, and allowing yourself that time on a regular basis to do that for yourself. And that's really the reason why I do these lifestyle posts. It's one a week, and it is something that takes about 20 minutes or can be split up through a couple of days, but it is a consistent weekly, hey, I'm going to reflect, or I'm going to focus on this thing in my life, and I'm going to grow in my self-awareness and my personal development, in addition to my physical and my nutritional health as well, because it all comes together. And that's something that I think we forget, especially as women, because we get so focused on what needs done externally, what we need to do for others. And this especially has to do with obligers. And sometimes the obliger, if you haven't heard my podcast on the 4 tendencies, I'll also link that below. But that's a good one to know if you are an obliger. Sometimes it's easier to fall into this, what my head over my heart idea. Okay. So keep that in mind. But obliger rebellion is a thing. That is when we get so overwhelmed by doing things for other people that we just say, screw it all, and just chuck it, like we don't care anymore. And that's something that we really want to be careful not to get to. And I'm speaking from a place, I have a lot of obliger tendencies myself. So that is, I'm mainly rebel, but I have a lot of obliger tendencies too. So that is something I've had to really focus on and check myself on, and have other people check me on, which we're going to talk about a little bit later when we talk about overcome. So that's the biggest one here. And another one with this is, another thing is that we make mountains out of molehills, as the term I've been really hearing quite a bit from a lot of people. And different clients or different friends that have things that they just allow, things are so much bigger in our minds than oftentimes they really are in reality. So it's important to remember this. And that's why I love writing something down as a tool, as a practice, because when we write something down, we materialize it. So it becomes more manageable. It becomes something that we can digest and we can chew on, rather than something that is in our mind that is this monster that we can't get past, and we fall into this downward spiral of negative emotions because it's pulling from, and I have another podcast on this, the amygdala of our brain, and how we've connected those negative emotions, or that sense of abandonment, or the sense of fear or shame that we've never dug deep and released or repaired, that it's pulling from that and we have no idea, and it's causing us to go into this downward spiral of hopelessness, when it's really a manageable problem or manageable obstacle that if we only knew what to do in order to handle it, it would become so much easier to go about regular life. We would waste so much less time if we knew if we focused on, okay, I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to breathe. I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to allow myself to release these feelings, to identify these feelings and figure out what I want to do with them before I react to the situation. Because the goal is to respond rather than react. Response is thought out. It is something that is going to help benefit the situation, hopefully. And reaction is typically an emotional response. It is not thought out. It is a fight or flight response, or a fight or flight reaction of, what do I need to do in order to save myself or to save a person that I love? So important that we focus on that response. And that's going to benefit us. And also this mind over heart trap that we can get caught in can happen with our relationships and our friendships, and thinking, oh, well, this person didn't do this or they said this, and it's becoming, rather than having a conversation with someone, we allow the, I guess, made up conversations in our heads or how we think something might go overwhelm us and allow it. That just opens a door for a lot of negative emotions that we may not be used to feeling. And it's never beneficial when we let those emotions take us over. We want to make sure we are learning how to control those emotions and to manage those emotions. We're not going to ever eliminate those because they're going to come up. We need to be ready to combat those or to know what to do with them. It's like compartmentalizing those emotions. We're going to turn into waffle brains, right? So that's the big thing with release, is allowing yourself to release the need to think everything through all the time, to rationalize, to overthink, to send blame where blame may not need to go, and whether that be in a response or a defense mode, or if it's something that you feel personally that you are being blamed for something and you take offense to that, or it causes division in your relationships. So the next one here is, last one here, releasing expectations and responsibility. So this can be something that's inward or outward, and something that, especially for those obligers, is going to be very difficult. And that's why accountability is so important for you. And that's that community that I was talking about. Having like-minded individuals who are keeping you accountable and are on that same journey and working towards it, so that you can share and sharpen each other in that. But releasing those expectations or responsibility, allowing yourself even just a few moments in the day, even if you have to lock yourselves in lock yourself in the bathroom by yourself, if that's the only time that you get to release the need to be there for other people. Find yourself a time and a place on a regular basis, whether that's once or twice a week, or if it's once a day, whatever that looks like for you. Finding a time where no one needs you. That is the key. Where no one needs anything from you. You're not working on dinner. You're not working on something for work or for a kid's project or school or anything like that. No one needs anything from you, even if it's 5 minutes, and allowing yourself that time, because that is time where we can just inwardly focus on what is it that I'm feeling that is not serving me right now, that is not benefiting my greater good or the greater good of those around me, and how is this possibly affecting my behavior or my relationships, and what can I do to release, repair, or overcome this feeling or this emotion or this situation in order to benefit myself and those around me. So that's what we're focusing on releasing. Next one here is repair, and that's going to be repairing that perception of your own ability, physically, emotionally, perception of self-worth, mending wounded feminine traits that have been repressed or damaged, and that's going to be in two areas. Self, which is going to be your focus, your mindset, perception, managing your expectations, learning to love yourself where you are, no matter if you've reached that goal, weight or not. And then outward focus of relationships, repairing connections, communication, reconciling where you need to reconcile, and setting boundaries where there need to be boundaries. And that's going to play in a little bit with that masculine traits as well, because that's going to be the learning how to, that is feminine, learning how to set boundaries. And authenticity is another big one here. Authenticity with your friends who are also on this journey, those who are keeping you accountable and those you are keeping accountable, and authenticity with yourself, being able to look inward and address the things with an honest and gracious mind, being patient with yourself. Sometimes we will even hide these negative traits about ourselves because we don't want to identify them. We don't want to look at them because we don't want to focus on them. We're like, oh, we'll just look over them because it's not a big deal. But they're there. It doesn't matter if we don't choose to look at them, they're still there. So in choosing to be real, be authentic, be vulnerable with yourself and allowing those negative or not so fun feelings come up in order to heal from the trauma they may be contributing to or have in the past. And in the long run, being able to heal from that rather than just piling more on and pretending it's not there, actually addressing the core issue. And it's really that's what repair is all about. And that's going to benefit those relationships and those connections that you're trying to also repair, because you've chosen to look inwardly and heal on the inside. You can be more for other people on the outside, if that makes any sense. All right, so the last one here is talking through overcome. So overcome is probably the biggest, I wouldn't say the biggest category, but it is all of these are continual processes. These are things that we never stop doing. It is a focus of consistent progress, right? But the overcome element is the feelings of unworthiness that are going to continue to come up, and the obstacles or the barriers, the feelings of abandonment, those feelings of being powerless or shame, fear, those things that are, like I said earlier, they're pulling from the amygdala in our brain, that part of our brain that holds, and it's basically a memory bank for the feelings we felt through our childhood and through our upbringing and through negative or positive situations in our past. And the negative situations, I feel, and I'm not, scientist or anything, so I feel for me, the negative feelings are a whole lot stronger sometimes than the emotion or than positive feelings. So sometimes that is what starts that, or oftentimes that's what starts that downward spiral of negative emotion or from a situation, because it's pulling from those past experiences and the feelings you felt through there. So I know one of my clients was sharing about how she still has feelings of abandonment from her childhood and her dad leaving when she was a small girl and not being there for the birthdays and for the family get-togethers and for the holidays. And that sense of abandonment, it continued with her through her adulthood. And that is why her desire for family and connection and making sure that that family continues to stay in contact with each other and love one another and show that intention behind getting together and making time for each other is because of that sense of abandonment. But now that she's been able to identify that, she's able to heal from that and learn to let go a little bit more, or learn to identify it as it's happening. So when she's reacting to something in a way that may seem unreasonable to someone else or irrational, she's understanding this is my sense of abandonment coming through my response right now. And because I can identify that, I can have power over it and choose what to do with that feeling. Am I going to adjust my behaviors? Am I going to release this feeling? And it may be a process of learning to release it. It may not just go away right away. And I like the Reiki principles of just for today. All of the principles start with just for today. I will not fear. Just for today, I will love every living thing. Just for today. And it's in that moment of just for right now, in this space where I am, in this moment, I am choosing to release this feeling. It doesn't have to be released forever. It's not letting go, because sometimes we hold on to it. It's a safety net. It's like, just in case I need something to blame, just in case I need something to, use as my excuse or use as my backup. Learning, okay, in this moment, I'm going to choose to release this, or in this moment, I'm going to choose not just pushing it down and covering it up, but releasing it. Or those situations that come up, rather than just ignoring them, being like, okay, in this moment, I'm going to choose to speak to this person, and hopefully it will be well received, but I'm going to do it with love and with a heart for reconciliation, and going in with that intention and being aware of the way that you're saying things and why you're saying things, and explaining things in a way that they will understand and receive well, rather than just a way that you want to interpret it. There's a lot of power in that. But when we learn how to identify these things, that is where the power comes, because it's that shift of, I am powerless, I am weak, I can't control my emotions, to, wait a minute, I do have power over how I respond. That is where the power is in our response, and knowing how to break it down in a very manageable, easy to remember way can be very, very helpful in the moment when you are overcome by emotion. All right. We want to learn how to overcome that emotion. So another area with overcoming is rerouting those thought processes, and learning how to, okay, I know I've identified that I have a very negative perception on a lot of things. So choosing to see the positives, choosing gratitude over looking at all the negatives. And that's something I've had to work with a lot of my clients on, is that negative mentality, because I have definitely noticed a huge difference in the 6 years of working with people. Those who have a positive outlook do well. Those who have a negative outlook do not. They don't lose the weight. They don't move forward at all. It starts in the mindset. And when you've chosen, I'm going to look at the little things that I have done well. May not be perfect, but I'm going to get better with those in the upcoming weeks. Sometimes we do have to look at the negatives, and I am aware of that, but there's a time and a place. If we're constantly in that state of negative thinking, we are not going to move forward. We are going to stay stuck in that place. If you're constantly seeking out the positive, that is where you're going to move forward. All right. I think of it kind of like being in a place of negativity is like walking on a treadmill. You're not going to get anywhere. Okay. You might be doing something, but if you're constantly thinking about the negative, you're not going to go anywhere. But if you choose to go outside and look up at the sunshine and look out at the leaves and the branches and where you are going, seeing the milestones as you run and choosing to look at those, then that is where you're going to see the progress. Even if it might be harder, in a lot of cases, running outside is harder than running on a treadmill. Seeing the positive is harder than seeing the negatives. But when you get into that cycle, when you learn how to breathe correctly, when you learn how to, because you're going to breathe differently outside than you would inside. When you're learning how to allow yourself a moment to think about, okay, what is it that I need to release? Using that breath. All right. I just thought about that. Actually, I've never used that analogy before. I will again though. So learning how to adjust your lifestyle, your accountability, your influences. Influence is a huge part of negative thinking and personal progress. If you surround yourself with people who are stagnant, who are focused on the negative, who are focused on, oh, poor me, I am a victim, I have been wronged and people have gotten in my way and this person's fault and this is this person's fault why I'm not here. Those are people that are not moving forward. Those are people that are not going to encourage you to move forward. If they don't see the importance in their own lives, they're not going to see the importance in your life. So it's your choice who you want to surround yourself with. And if you choose to surround yourself with people who are also moving forward, who are also focused on the positives, the gratitude, what is good in their lives, the little times that you can spend time together, even if you're not able to connect one-on-one in person, connecting virtually, shooting somebody a text message. When you're feeling negative, shoot some positivity in somebody else's inbox, right? It helps us when we serve others. That is what benefits that positivity. And that's actually an area that I really want to focus on with my R&R group right now, because I really want to allow an opportunity for service together, because when we serve together, it builds a bond and it focuses on what we have to be thankful for rather than what we have, that what we don't have, that someone else might have, or what we want that we don't have yet. Or all of the things that are going wrong in our lives, rather than the roof over our head and the bed that we get to sleep in. And when you go out and you serve food to homeless people, or you do mission work, or help people's dilapidated houses, then you really gain a perspective on what you have and how grateful you are for that. It's so important. I can't even tell you the mind shift that I had when I got back from Haiti the first time I went on a mission trip there. And just, I mean, the place that we were staying was nice, but when we went out on the mission area, you were using a hole in the ground for a bathroom. You were using, or it was maybe, they built a porta potty for us, Americans, because they wanted to give us a place to go to the bathroom. And they did that for us. They didn't even do that for them, because they're used to going to the bathroom on the ground or like behind a bush. And it was a shift of perspective of what I have and how much I have versus what others have. The kids that were running around naked because they couldn't afford clothes, and the adults wore clothes, but the children didn't need to because, well, they couldn't afford it. Or the 6x6 straw hut and mud houses, or straw and mud huts that they were living in. That's what their home was. They were all sleeping on the ground. Some of them had mats, some of them didn't. And it was this perspective. There was a lot there that I never even realized. And when you put yourself in that outward focus, that service mindset, it changes the way that we conceptualize a lot of our problems. And they become a lot more manageable, a lot more, not smaller, because all of our problems, all of our feelings are valid. We're allowed to feel all of them, but it's whether we choose to get stuck in that or whether we choose to crawl out of it, that really makes or breaks a person. That's that survive or thrive difference there, in my opinion. And so these influences that you have around you are really, really going to influence or affect how adamant you are going to remain with this perception. If you surround yourself with people who are focused on themselves, then it's going to be very difficult to maintain that outward focus. So just keeping that in mind, and the people that you're surrounding yourself with, and the influences, not just the ones that you have control over, managing the ones maybe you don't have control over these influences. Maybe these are members of your family or really close friends that you can't just cut out of your life. And I'm not telling you to do that, but that's why it's in this overcome section. It's learning, okay, what boundaries do I need to set? What do I need to do in order to make sure people know where my focus is? Maybe you are the one who starts the service. Maybe you are the person who's like, hey guys, for this day, me and my friend here are going to go volunteer at a soup kitchen. If anybody wants to come, please join us. We're going to be here at this time. And you would be surprised at how willing people are to serve. If it's a thing, if it's a group thing, if you make it a party, then people are going to want to come. If you put out that positive energy, if you put out that service mindset, people are going to follow that. There are a whole lot more followers in your friend group than there are leaders. I guarantee you, because there's probably maybe 1 or 2 leaders in your group of friends, in your core group of friends. Maybe you're all leaders. That I find that surprising, because most of the time those people clash. But you have the opportunity to create change, not only in your own life, but also in the mindsets of other people, just by setting the example, setting the pace. And just like with a lot of people will follow along with the negative opinions about, maybe they're talking about their boss or their coworkers, or they're just gossiping about somebody's drama that's not theirs. And people seem to just kind of fall into that. People follow very, very easily. And you can take that and you can use it, not to manipulate them, but in order to benefit their lives, because serving others will benefit their lives. There's no doubt about it. If they don't like it, they don't have to do it again, but it still hopefully made an impact on their lives. Hopefully it gave them that impression of, wow, I do have a lot. And even if they didn't see it in the level that you did, you were still an impact in their life. So that is what being the impact means. It's those little things, that understanding of the power that you have to create movement and to create, to be that aroma, to be that essence in your friend group, in your group of girls, in your squad, right? You can be that essence of positive change that resonates with others, and they kind of feed off of that. They're going to feed off of that energy, that vibe, that essence, and they're going to follow along. And those who don't, well, do you want those people in your friend group? That's the question at that point. And if it's just something that they're going through, maybe you focus a little bit more attention on them. Maybe you focus a little bit less. And at that point, you can address and figure out what you need to repair or release or overcome there. But in essence, you are the essence, to be cheesy, okay? And also adjusting your practices accordingly, and accountability also. So if you need external accountability, like a coach or a personal trainer or a life coach or counselor or therapist or something like that, depending on what it is that you are trying to heal from, what it is that you are trying to process, you may need a different level of accountability. So, and if you really need help figuring that out, please let me know. Shoot me a message, email me. If you go to the website, there's a pop-up and you can contact me on there. Or even just leave a comment on the bottom of this video. Like, what is it that you may need help strategizing or kind of figuring out those obstacles, how you want to go about? It's all about strategy. Like, if you watch American Ninja Warrior, it's all about strategy. It's about how they move their body, not just the hand that is holding the weird gripper thing, but also the way that they move the body, the way that they use the core, the way that they strategize in where their foot placement is going to be. So sometimes it's all about strategy, and that's what I want to help you achieve. So if you want to schedule a one-on-one call with me, I would love to set that up with you. Even if you don't decide to sign up with me, that free call may give you a lot of clarity. And if I was able to be a part of your path in that, then thank you for blessing me, okay? So if that's something that you'd like, please get in contact with me to help figure out some of these ongoing obstacles that are going to continue to come up, this way of processing. If you want to learn more about that, please either sign up for my VIP or VIP with coaching membership. That is probably the top one I would recommend, the VIP with coaching, because you do have that once a month accountability and that check-in. And then I also check in with you via text message, or phone call, just depending on what level of accountability you need. And that's what we figure out in your first initial call. So if that's something that you're really possibly struggling with, or you're just unsure about, providing clarity, providing some of that strategy can help you learn to embrace this essence, embrace this power that you have to embrace your feminine characteristics, and that positive outlook of the goals that you are working towards and how far you have come. And that is what the reflect section of the lifestyle membership is all about. It's reflecting on how far you have come and the impact that positive change has made on those in your life, the world around you. And you would be surprised at how much greater that impact can be when you are also doing it with other individuals, in this case, other women who are also seeking that positive change and learning to be the impact wherever they are. And the goal is to just keep growing, keep impacting, whatever that looks like. Tell your friends, share with your friends what you're learning here, share it. That is the goal, is to change the world one person at a time. And you are the impact. Just as much as I am the impact, we can all be the impact together. And I always want to keep that focus. So I hope that this has assisted you or served you in some way today, that this information can help you learn how to adjust and manage your journey of embracing your feminine, embracing your positive focus, embracing the essence that you are and the change that you can create, the impact that you can be. I do want to challenge you to be that spark, be that igniting fire within your friend group. Maybe it's suggesting going out to dinner, or go serve together, go volunteer together, maybe doing a virtual Zoom call or a virtual game night, or maybe it's finding some positive scriptures or quotes or something along those lines to share with each other on a weekly basis. Something to ignite that ripple effect, that reflection that we can have with one another, and that light that is created when we're all reflecting off of each other. That is what the mirror impact is. That is us feeding off of one another, sharpening one another in that accountability and that community, and that is where we are strongest. I want to encourage you in that. You can be that igniting element in your friend group. Anyone has the opportunity. It just takes that one person to take action and do something, and that can be you. Don't forget to check out the website, themirrorimpact.com, if you're interested in working with me. My name is Ariele Keller. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you all next week.